All right, well, it is up, everyone. This is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice show. We have 12 games to talk about today. Quite a lot to talk about. Line changes, just ownership stuff, and I'm joined by Steve Homercleese-Bauer. Steve, how are you doing this afternoon?
Not too bad, not too bad. Big time slate today, so
For sure.
lots to go over, I guess.
Yeah, weird contests, for sure.
Yeah, we were talking before the show. Like the new price tags on the contests and the new names and everything's kind of throwing me off.
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
A little different from the standard stuff.
Yeah. So, is it like this for other sports too? I don't know. Does anybody in chat play other sports, and do they do this all the time where they change up the price points and stuff and the names? I know they do some of this for NFL, but there's always the usual stuff.
Yeah.
At least on DraftKings.
This just seems random.
Yeah. I don't know. So there's that $8.94 if you're playing high stakes tonight. I'm sure you're gonna get one in there. You got it, right?
Yeah, I mean 40K up top, I guess.
Yeah.
So worth a shot.
Not too many 40K tournaments. So
It's
I got
just
one in
odd
there.
price points though. They have a $76 tournament.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
139. Well, I mean, even just in general, the difference in the price points, like the 76 and the 139 are pretty close together. They usually try to separate, maybe have a lower entry fee for the 76 and then slightly higher for the one. I guess the 139 used to be the 150 or something.
Right. Is there anything in that $30 to $33 to $40 range? I don't think there is.
No, yeah, there's nothing really. Well, no, there's one very small contest though. Broad Street Power Play is 34, but it's only
single entry.
It's only 5 entry.
Yeah. Okay. That's so weird.
There's really nothing much in that mid stakes or mid range.
Yeah. I don't know. It should be fun. But again, lots to talk about. Sure. If you guys want to use promo code Hit the Ice, it's not a free trial any longer. It's a little bit different. Promo code Hit the Ice will get you 50% off your first month of any Osmo.com premium package. So use that if you're thinking about signing up. You get 50% off the first month. Access to my projections, Osmo's rankings, player and stack rankings, premium articles, and the premium Slack, of course, which is always awesome. Always people talking hockey and whatever other sport and topic you feel like talking about. All right. Well, first of all, Steve, do you want to talk about any ownership spots that might be super chalky or anything like that? We were talking about Boston a little bit to start or right before the show. Anything else?
I haven't really thought about ownership on this slate, but just looking over general stuff, I imagine Toronto will be somewhat popular, but same issue with them as always. It's which line do you play kind of deal. So that should help there. I don't know, maybe Edmonton. I see a lot of people going to LA as a chalk spot, like one of those chalk spots you don't feel comfortable with against Ottawa, who's on the back-to-back.
Yep.
And then Tampa's always, I mean, they're killing it, so I can see them getting some ownership too.
Yeah.
But nothing too crazy. I don't think anything too crazy here.
Yeah, maybe with McDavid back with Draisaitl and Chase on, that gets a little bit of attention. Yeah. But yeah, there's enough spots where LA sounds like horrendous chalk. Yeah, I've heard both sides of that today. It's cheap chalk. I mean, they only need 1 or 2 goals to get you there, but at the same time, it is LA, and it seems like almost too good to be true for a bad team, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this. Speaking of Boston, we'll go Caps and Bruins. We've got a 2.7 implied total for the Caps, 3.2 for the Bruins. Braden Holtby in net going up against Yaroslav Halak. Boston won. Seems like a really awesome spot in my opinion. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, so it's pretty much the case. It's going to be numbers versus historical narratives in this one. Seems like a really good spot for Boston. If you look at Washington defensively, their high danger chances have been among the worst in the league over the whole season, really. Not very good at all. Penalty kill is pretty poor. Boston's got a very strong power play. Shapes up very nicely for the top line here. Everything in theory, except just the history. Boston can't beat Washington, and they can't score on Holtby. So I don't know how much you want to read into that. Yeah. But it's been 13 straight games without Boston winning in regulation against Washington. So it's been a considerable amount of time. Washington did blow them out in the first game of the season, 7-0. That game was in Washington. I imagine Boston's going to try to break the trend in this one. This is like the best possible time for them to do it. Halak, on the other hand, from a narrative thing, has always owned Washington in his career, so it's good to have someone to counter with there.
yeah, a lot of different stuff to balance here. Boston, specifically the top line, has been playing amazing. They just trounced Minnesota in their last game, shut them out. So
you can kind of see that one coming, right?
Yeah.
Minnesota on the back-to-back and getting in late. Like we talked about that.
And it was the last game on the road trip too. And I mean, they came out flat first period. A couple lucky goals for Boston, and then it was over from there.
Yeah, honestly, Boston got pretty lucky on those goals. Like a shot off the chest, a few off the skate.
Yeah.
Super lucky. So maybe it goes a different way otherwise. But yeah, at no point was Minnesota a threat.
No, not at all. Hockey A, yes, that is correct. Truth seeker. Boston 1's going to be in contention for like my main lineup tonight, my 894. They're probably going to end up there. The issue with them, really the only issue for me is, well, there's two, I guess. Possible ownership for them, especially at the higher stakes. I think they're going to be maybe the highest owned line, but also it's tough to fit in other full lines unless you're really punting at D and goalie. Like getting a quality other line. So, the full line is so limiting cost-wise. Yep, that's kind of the issue you got there. But I'm going to try to find a way to jam them in and hopefully move on from there because the Caps are just giving up so many high-danger chances. We're expecting Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, and Wilson to get hard matched by Bergeron. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would think so. They usually try to get Bergeron against Ovechkin.
Yep. All right, perfect. And we know they're not really all that great defensively. The Caps aren't great defensively. They commit a lot of penalties, and Boston has a good power play, and the Caps have a bad penalty kill. So all that, all over Boston 1 for me. They're my top stack on the entire night. MME or single entry, it doesn't really matter. Anything else in this game you want to talk about stacks-wise or defensemen or goalies?
Just that, power play is a good spot, and we have DeBrusk on the top power play unit with them, so he's only 4,500, nice value there, and Krug is 5,600, so good spot for him. If you think if Boston's going off, he's an amazing value.
Yep, love it.
He's someone, I would consider stacking with him because he's probably not going to have success unless the top line has success.
Yeah, I think he skated a ton with them last game at even strength. That was also a home game, so if they do that again, it's already awesome correlation with Krug just because of the power play. Fair price for him. He shoots it quite a bit. And Krug's right up there as one of my top defensemen, maybe in the next tier behind like Burns and Carlson, those type of guys, just as one-offs. But if you're stacking Boston 1, try to get in Krug if you can. Are you on any of the Caps here?
Not particularly. Just from a numbers matchup thing, I don't really love it. They always tend to have success against Boston, but just from a numbers standpoint, I can't really bring myself to have Washington exposure here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. So pretty much off Washington altogether. And goalies here.
I think that Holtby makes for an interesting GPP option.
Okay.
For sure. Just given how well he's played against Boston. Honestly, look at his numbers. They're insane against Boston. They just can't score on him, period. And they should generate a ton of volume. So.
Yep, you said it best.
Yeah. I'll have both. I'll have Boston 1 and Holtby.
Cool.
Not in the same lineup, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Maple Leafs and the Devils. We've got a 3.5 implied total for the Leafs, 3 for the Devils. Michael Hutchinson going up against Keith Kincaid here. Big news here is that there's no Taylor Hall for the Devils and a huge total on the Leafs side here. Yep. The only problem with them is they've gone back to these lines that they had a couple weeks ago. So no Nylander with Matthews. It's going to be Johnson, Matthews, and Kapanen back together. So what does this do for you with these new old Leafs lines?
I don't know. The Leafs have smashed them this year, like 13 goals in 2 games. One other thing, they changed the power play units as well. Yeah. They took, I don't know if you mentioned that when you said the line changes, but Matthews is with Nylander on the second unit there. So I don't know. They kind of spread things around quite a bit. makes it tricky to target one line in particular. My lean's probably on the Tavares Marner line, but Matthews line's a very close second here.
Yeah, just for correlation reasons, and Hyman being so cheap at 3,600, I think I prefer the Tavares line as a full stack. Even though, like you said, just the correlation isn't really there on the power play, especially now that they switched up these units. But yeah, I want to like the Leafs a little bit more. I'm going to get to that Tavares Marner line in multi-entry. And then I've got nothing for the Devils here. I don't really see anyone that I want to stack or play for defensemen. I know we like targeting defensemen against the Leafs, but who do you play here?
Don't need to play anybody.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. But no, I mean, on forwards though, I do like the second line as always. They're strong value. And they've been playing well. Zajac, Coleman, and Wood. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Sure, that's definitely a decent filler. I think they'd fit with Boston one pretty nicely.
Easily, yeah.
If you want to go that route.
Yeah, they're only like 12K.
They do have really solid numbers, I think, in their sample together, right?
Very, yeah.
Okay. All right, maybe I misspoke then. Maybe I should be playing a little bit of New Jersey too, especially with the expensive lines, the Tampa 2s, the Boston 1s, and even on the other side, the Leafs, if you're going there.
Yeah. Leafs have been pretty good lately, not giving up any high danger chances at 5-on-5, last 10 games or so. Mm-hmm. They've been solid with that, aside from the Predators game.
Yeah, what happened
But
there?
that was a super, I mean, you're playing against an amazing line. Johansson, Arvidsson, Forsberg on his return. So you can't stop those guys.
They could have had like 6 goals last night.
Oh,
I was watching that game.
I saw the first period. They had a million chances.
Arvidsson could have had like 4 or 5 himself.
Yeah.
So they looked incredible, like a brand new team with Forsberg and Arvidsson back. So just something to take note of. Anything else in this game? Goalies, Hutchinson or Kincaid for 7,100?
Yeah, neither goalie. And that's why I think this game's a shootout, because both goalies suck. So
both goalies do suck. I will admit that. I do have some Kincaid just because he's super cheap. Yeah, it feels gross.
No chance. I'm not touching him. Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all. The Leafs are going to blow them out of the water.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Man, you should be playing a ton of Leafs then, no?
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard to pinpoint specifically one line, so I'll have a mix of a lot of them in MMA kind of stuff.
That's fair.
But also, the Hutchinson's in net. The Riley the Leafs do give up some, they can give up some chances. So I think there is possibility for the New Jersey offense to have some success. I mean, the first line is decent enough, but I do lean the second line just for the savings.
All right. Let's move it on then. Let's go to the Islanders and the Rangers. We have a 3.2 implied total for the Isles, 2.9 for the Rangers. Robin Leonard going up against Henrik Lundqvist. We got some new Rangers lines here. Kreider, Zibanejad, and Zuccarello, so kind of a stacked top line for the Rangers. Everything else stays the same on the Islanders. What that does for me is really just make me pinpoint Rangers 1 is the only Rangers line I really want to play. And then do you have a strong preference between the top 2 for the Islanders if you're going to either one at all?
I mean, as a line, the numbers are better for the Nelson line. But Barzal's just been playing so well lately that I have a hard time not playing some of him as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just shooting a ton. I don't know if it's been you and me or me and Nolan that have talked about this, but just looks like a way more aggressive player lately.
He is quite expensive though, 6,900.
But his line mates are pretty cheap, even though I don't love Bailey, but like Beauvillier, 4,400, Bailey, 4,800. So it's not terrible when you take into account the full line. I lean the Nelson line. Full power play correlation there. The Rangers have been one of the worst defensive teams over the last 10 or 15 games. And then I'm not really stacking anyone with that top line because the guy you'd want to play with them is the power play 1 quarterback, and that's Leddy. So D value, D points grade for Leddy, even though he's power play 1 tag in Osmo's ranking. So pretty telling there. Pulak's the guy I'm going to get to as a one-off for the Islanders, and that's really about it. Do you have anything else in this game?
Not a ton of Rangers interest. Maybe put a small amount of them. What are they running at? They're 1,500, about that. Yeah, they're not bad value, I think, in general. Islanders, though, just I don't necessarily want to target them. They're not giving up a lot of high danger chances. The Rangers just aren't generating the high danger chances. They're not generating any shot attempts either. So there's really nothing to like about the Rangers offense, I think here. Power play maybe like power play would be the one thing, and that the Islanders are giving up a lot of high danger chances on the penalty kill.
Okay.
So. And then I think it's just a really good power play matchup for the Islanders as well. They're generating their power play hasn't had much success. They're generating a lot of high danger chances on the power play. So that's kind of why I might include some Leddy, as much as I hate it, as much as I hate him as just like a singular value, but as part of stacks, I think it's reasonable.
Yeah. I'm kind of joking with Leddy, kind of not, but
yes.
He just doesn't ever do anything. We always talk about it, but
you're hoping he gets a couple assists on the power play, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. So for correlation-wise, it makes sense, but just like mentally, I'd rather not go there if I can avoid it.
Yeah, like 3,800 seems not great, but not terrible. I mean, what else do you got in that range? You're looking at guys like Goligoski, Cody Cece's, like nothing special.
What about Devin Tays? Nolan asks. He's shooting quite a bit.
Yeah, what's his? Has he been seeing a lot of power play time lately? It's on the second. He's on the second unit, I think.
He is on the second unit.
Yeah, not the. I mean, that unit kind of looks like trash. It's Beauvillier, Bailey, Clutterbuck, and two defense. So, yeah, I don't know. What was his price tag here?
$3K.
$3K. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. That's not bad. I was all over him when he was 2,500 against the Hawks, but 3K, like he's starting to maybe get out of range, but I think
17 minutes per game, about 16, 17. Yeah, that's not terrible. For
shooting it a bunch.
Yeah. Goalies here, Leonard, Lundqvist. Either of these guys pique your interest?
Leonard's too expensive. I mentioned the Rangers just are generating the least shot attempts in the league, so I don't think it's great for 8,100. You're pretty much hoping for a shutout here, one goal against. Like it's fine. He's on the road and it's a divisional matchup, so I don't like that for cash, especially at that price. I'd say his ceiling is not the highest.
Okay.
So I don't really love him. I think he's like a safer option in GPPs, but I still don't love it. So maybe like a guy that you want to include in correlated with your offensive stacks or something.
Okay, that's fair.
Lundqvist possibly, but doesn't. Yeah, I think at that price, it's maybe worth a shot.
Yeah, Lundqvist is just one of those guys that I'm sprinkling in that range.
Yeah, you're just betting on talent, really.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move it on. Let's go to the Stars and the Flyers. 3 implied total for both teams here. Anton Khudobin going up against Carter Hart. Very expensive Dallas one from what we've seen a little bit lately. And then I don't really know where to go on this Flyers team. You've got 3 wingers with Van Riemsdyk, Giroux, and Konechny together on the top line. Couturier with Voracek and Lindblom. So what are you doing with this game, Steve?
It's kind of like, I don't know. I obviously like Dallas 1. It's Philly we're talking about here. They're like the worst place. They're worst in the league now. I think they're behind Ottawa.
Yeah.
So
really bad.
That's pretty sad. Pretty sad company there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a great feel on this game. I think it could be one of those like 2-1, 3-2 kind of games where I don't know. It's just I don't have a great feel about it. I don't know how about you?
I mean, I want to like the Couturier Voracek line a little bit just because Lindblom's min salary, but I think it actually might be a somewhat popular filler with some of these top lines, and I just really don't have any faith in the Flyers right now. I think that line might go up against Sagan, Ben, and Radulov, which I'd rather avoid as well. That line's been playing a little bit better together. They've been sticking together for all the last couple of games as well. And so this one's kind of being written off for me on both sides. I didn't really end up with much Dallas 1 either. Like I might have like 3 or 4% of them of my 100, but it's not going to be anything crazy on the Stars. So cooled off them a little bit, and of course they're starting to get hot right as I cool off them. So
Yeah. I would say the power plays seem like the best spot, not so much even strength.
Mhm.
Dallas has been giving up a decent amount of shot attempts at 5-on-5 and mid pack on high danger chances. Philly's actually been pretty solid on allowing high danger chances against. They're not giving up too many. Um, and well, Dallas has been generating a lot of 5-on-5, so it's kind of like a tough matchup as
Yeah.
far as that goes at 5-on-5. But on the power play, even I think both power plays are probably in a good spot. Dallas's power play has been having more success lately. They've really been turning it up. So, a guy like Klingberg's in play for me, and I think that makes Dallas one slightly more appealing,
Yep.
just because they do have the good power play matchup. The Flyers have been underachieving on the power play, but they've been generating a lot more unblocked shot attempts and high danger chances. So I think they're due to go off one of these days. So I'm taking a little bit of a look at Goss's Spear here at only 4,800.
Okay. Yeah, the power play one quarterbacks, both fine plays. The only issue I have with Klingberg is not really about him at all. It's just that I just so much more prefer Krug for $200 less on DK. So,
Yep, that's a really good point. I do too.
yeah, that's the only thing. Another 7K goalie at home, Carter Hart for 7K, or Kidobin 7,800. Either of these guys you like?
Kudobin's quite interesting against Philly, who has problem scoring.
Mm-hmm.
They've been struggling like crazy, and so Kudobin's been playing well. They've been giving up a lot of shots in his last couple starts, but they're against really good teams though, Washington and Nashville, or at least good offensive teams. So I think his shot, like his shot projection, should be pretty decent.
Yeah, I agree. I've got him projected to see a decent amount of shots. And then same thing with Hart, just kind of taking a flyer on these low-priced goalies at home and hoping a few of them squeak out the win. So that's what I'm doing for MME tonight. I don't think Hart is a great play in like a single entry or anything, but trying to correlate as much as possible when it makes sense. And he's going to be one of those guys that I get to in non-correlated lineups because I'm not getting to a ton of Philly. All right. Ready to move on to the next game?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Preds and the Blue Jackets, 3 implied total for both teams here. Saros expected to go for the Predators after they played last night. It was Rene, played very well. And then Korpisalo for the Blue Jackets. Going right back to this Nashville 1 line, I don't think they're going to be very highly owned.
Yeah, I kind of do want to. They've been playing phenomenally. Like in the 2 periods against the Leafs and then the full game last night against the Hawks. I think the Blue Jackets right now have some issues going on. Like they haven't been great defensively.
Bob's
not terrible either. Like they're not a team you really want to pick on per se.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's reasonable for Nashville 1.
Yeah, I kind of forgot they were on the slate, so I think they're going to be pretty low owned.
I would expect that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it is a back-to-back, but who knows? Like maybe these lines for the Blue Jackets don't even stick. I didn't really look at what they've done in their last couple of games, but I saw that their lines have been mixed around. So who knows if these lines are going to stick? I'm a little bit wary of playing the Blue Jackets here. Don't love targeting Nashville anyways on big slates, especially now that they're healthy. They've got Subban back. They've got Arvidsson, Forsberg, all these guys back, and still Yossi and Ellis. They're just really deep. So this is another one that I'm kind of writing off, and maybe I should be on a little bit more of Nashville 1 now that we're talking about it.
Yeah, I do like them. The defense has been playing really poorly for the Blue Jackets, and then it's not Bob and Ned, it's Korpisalo. I don't know. It is tricky on a back-to-back, so it's hard to prioritize Nashville, but I definitely want to have some exposure to them tonight. Just at reasonable price, and I think low ownership. So
yeah. So I guess Bobrovsky, is suspended. It sounds like without using the word suspended.
Yeah. No, he's suspended.
So something's going down there in Columbus. They just skipped his start because he failed to meet team expectations or something. Sounds like a suspension.
Yeah, pretty much. I think he when he got pulled last game, I think he didn't come back to the bench. I think he just bounced.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's mainly it. And then they got into it behind the scenes. They must have done or said something.
Okay, then. Do you have any interest? This probably isn't the right spot, but what about this Wenberg, Duclair, Bjorkstrand line? that we've talked about. They generate a decent amount of chances. They give up even more. Is this just not the spot for them yet?
With Nashville, I don't see any really weak links. I mean, the Fiala-Smith-Sissons line is giving up a decent amount of shot attempts. Yeah, actually, both those depth lines are giving up some shot attempts.
Okay.
Not so bad on the high danger chances, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw last night. It looked like Chicago had several decent chances to score in that first period.
For sure. Yeah.
So I think there's, it's back-to-back on the road. It's possible, but they're probably the third favorite line of the three Blue Jackets lines. That's the only problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. The Foligno, Jenner, Anderson line probably a little bit of a better option. And they're not that much more expensive than the second line, or the one you're seeing as the second line right now. So ice time might be an issue with them as well. I just didn't know if you were maybe going to roll them out, since we've talked about them a couple times now.
Yeah, I think I'll just let the projections do what they do, and I wouldn't pull. I would include them if they're there, but I wouldn't tell you not to play them.
Sweet.
I just don't have a strong feeling on them. That's all.
Quite a few defensemen in play: Yossi Ellis, Subban, Ekholm, Seth Jones, Werenski. You taking strong stances on any of these guys?
Strong stances, no, but I might just try to take the value guys like Ellis, Werenski. Ekholm's price is finally going up. He's been playing well offensively.
Yeah, it's just going to be a price thing for me tonight. I think I'm going to end up with a lot of Burns, a lot of Krug, and then everyone else is going to be like single digits or so. Maybe like Doughty and Pietrangelo. Some of these guys sneak into double digits, but it's going to be mostly a couple guys for me tonight. So probably not a ton of defensemen in this game for me. And then goalies, Saros, Korpisalo.
It would just be correlating stacks, I think, in this case.
Agreed. Yeah. Yep, not my favorites here.
Yeah.
All right, Carolina Hurricanes, Tampa Bay Lightning, 2.8 implied total for the Hurricanes, 3.7 for the Lightning. Peter Mrazek going up against Andrei Vasilevsky. Is this a Tampa 2 night tonight?
Every night's a Tampa 2 night.
That's true. Where are they in comparison to like a Boston 1 for you?
Pretty, I don't know, it's pretty close. I'd like to play the ownership side of that, but I imagine they'll both be pretty similarly owned.
Yeah, I think it's just going to depend on the tournament. I think in like the $8 or the $7 tonight, that's the same tourney as the $8. They'll probably be pretty close, like within 3 or 4% of each other. But in higher stakes, I don't know, it might be more Boston 1 people. At least that's how I'm reading it right now. So I think either option's great. They're probably going to hard match against Aho, Teravainen, and McGinn. Aho, Teravainen play at a crazy high rate together. So it's a really good matchup. They're awesome on the power play. Like, there's nothing bad to say. I just prefer Boston 1 here, so going to end up underweight on Tampa 2.
Yeah, I think it's a correlation thing for me. Probably lean Boston 1. Just the power play as well, because you can see how many times do you see like a Stamkos Kucherov combo would work or something like that, because they can score on the power play and stuff. So I just think the correlation is a lot stronger for Boston 1.
Agreed. The thing is, a lot of the top secondary lines can be squeezed into or with Tampa Bay 2, of course, he says, and not Boston 1. That makes sense.
It's 1,000 difference. It's not like a huge 1,200 difference.
Yeah. You could probably squeeze in St. Louis.
Maybe you get maybe upgrade your defenseman, something like that.
Yeah, go from like a $3,500 defenseman to a $4,500. That's a big thing, depending on who it is.
Like, I don't even hate leaving Tyler Johnson off a stack or something like that. Just going point Kucherov.
Yeah. Or, would you
and then a cheaper guy. Like, you could do that. And I would feel uncomfortable trying to choose which guy on Boston 1 to leave off for, say, a DeBrusk or whatever to go down. Like, I don't like doing that as much. So if you're just playing the full entire stack, I like Boston 1 better just for that reason.
Yeah. Would you go like point Kucherov Palat, or Palat's
I don't think there's any point in bringing Palat to that stack. He doesn't really do much.
Okay.
And he's not used on the power play. Like, even though he's on the power play, he doesn't touch the puck.
That's fair.
He's like off in the corner, and it's pretty much just like Hedman point, and then either Kucherov or Stamkos takes the shot. There's no one else.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time Palat's gotten a goal, now that I'm thinking of it, like on the power play at least.
No, he's not really a part of the power play at all. So That doesn't matter to me. Maybe
Okay.
maybe this is the game where he just gets all those garbage rebounds in front of the
Yeah,
net or
could be.
something, but you never know.
All right. What about anything on the Carolina side? Uh,
Um, like in general, Tampa has their defensive leaks. I mean, they're giving up a lot of shot attempts. I can see Carolina getting shots in volume here. It looks good, but it's Carolina who can't score against a really good goalie who's good at home. So, um, in theory, Carolina looks good, but in practice, no. Probably lean more Vasilevsky than Carolina.
yeah, Tampa not really a team I want to target, especially when they're on home ice.
Mhm.
Carolina already has issues scoring. I don't think they're going to be fixed here. So
Yeah, exactly. It's like yeah, that's pretty much it. If I'm playing anyone, it's Aho and any kind of correlation with him.
yeah. Uh, any defensemen? We mentioned Hedman, kind of. Any of these guys on Carolina that you're looking at as maybe one-offs? Dougie.
Um, Hedman's not bad. I don't know if I like that. I'd rather just pay up for the Burns types and whatever.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's not a bad price. I mean, a lot of the other guys in that price range have their own issues. So it's not terrible when you compare him to the other guys around that price range. Yeah, I don't know. Dougie's been getting the results. It's just like he's getting points in what 4 or 5 straight.
Yep.
Yeah, and but his minutes are still not fantastic. So
What about like,
it's like GPP only type of deal.
yeah, Dehan's kind of slowed down on the blocks too. He had an eye injury, so maybe that
Slavin might be the
Slavin,
guy. Yeah, because he does
4,300.
see. Yeah, Slavin. What Pesci could be the block guy as well.
Oh yeah,
3,800 though. Mm, I think I'd rather pay down for guys that are just going to get blocks.
yeah,
Pay way down, like if possible. So yeah, none of them really stand out in this matchup. I think either one of them could have a good game, but good luck projecting who it's going to be.
yeah. Uh, Probably just pass on that. What about Vasilevsky? Massive price tag, but
Yep.
as we said, Carolina takes a ton of shots and can't score. Like, is he still in play for you at 8,400?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Osmo likes him too. It looks like A points grade, A value. I'm in agreement as well, and then no Mrazek
You
for
know
me.
it's a good spot if you're the top price goalie and you're still in A value.
Yeah, yeah. So that's really all you guys need to see there.
Yeah.
You
I
can
mean,
play this.
Hutchinson's priced at 8,300.
Yeah,
Like, come on.
yeah, uh,
That's a joke.
yeah. All right, let's go to Montreal and St. Louis. We've got a 2.8 implied total for the Canadiens, 3.1 for the Blues. Carey Price and Jordan Binnington going in net, and we've got a super inexpensive St. Louis one. Once again, DK pricing algorithm must be broken on them or something.
It's the lack of results, I think. They're probably weighing results a little heavier.
Their numbers aren't credible. Like any like expected goals, high danger chance numbers
Yeah.
you're looking at, they're generating so much. They all play on the power play. Like this should be a pretty chalky line, wouldn't you think?
Uh, it's possible. I don't know what kind of research everybody else is doing, but yeah, on DraftKings, sure. FanDuel's a little different. They're priced up there,
Mm-hmm.
but DraftKings, I do expect more ownership because of
Yeah.
that.
How do you expect them to match here? I don't know if you've looked at this at all.
Uh, Montreal's always tricky. You don't know what they're considering the top line or second line. Other
Okay.
teams do it differently. But typically, you have O'Reilly against the top line, the line they want to shut down, and then Shen against the second line.
Yeah. Yeah.
So either way, it's like you're kind of rolling the dice here, hoping that they get the Domi line and that O'Reilly gets the Gallagher line. That would be ideal for the Tarasenko line.
Corsi says Ryan O'Reilly against Dano, Shen versus Domi. So if that's the case,
Possibly.
that's
You don't know. Like if they consider Domi the guy they want to shut down,
yeah.
he's been their best scorer, their leading scorer.
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
I don't know.
And it's not like you're gonna know this a few minutes before lock too, so like
No.
you couldn't just like swap. But I don't think it matters all that much. I mean, St. Louis one has been creating a ton of chances, and the Dano line has been a little bit worse defensively as of late, a little bit leakier. So St. Louis one, I think an awesome stack. They fit with almost everyone. I think they even technically fit with Boston one if you double punt and then punt your goalie. So enjoy Peter Mrazek in net, but I don't know. I'd probably want to get a different line than Boston won if I'm going to St. Louis one, because there are quite a few good defensive plays and goalie plays tonight, in my opinion. Are you looking at this O'Reilly line or anything else on the Canadian side?
Well, that would be the one reason why I would consider them, just because, what if they get the Domi line? Mm-hmm. And I'd much rather play against that matchup. So I'll sprinkle some O'Reilly.
Yeah, I like it.
But in general, the matchup sets up well for the Blues. If you just look at the team stats over the last little while, Montreal's generating a ton of shot attempts, but defensively, St. Louis giving up one of the fewest shot attempts against and high danger chances against. But Montreal, on the other hand, while they're not terrible on the shot attempts against, they're giving up a lot of high danger chances.
Yeah.
And Blues are generating a lot of high danger chances, and especially that top line. So that's kind of why I do like them here, and I will have exposure to them despite maybe getting that tougher matchup.
For sure. Yeah. Blues are going to be one of my highest owned lines for MME for sure tonight. They just fit so nicely with everything else. You've also got Pietrangelo on the top power play with no Vince Dunn. $5,400 for Pietrangelo. I'm more than fine paying that for that. And that is really about it. You got any other defensemen you want to talk about here or goalies?
No. I mean, Petrie seems to be the more effective for Montreal, at least offensively. But yeah, Montreal's penalty kill hasn't been great, so I think that's good spot for Pietrangelo.
What about Binnington for $7,300? He's going to get some attention for sure.
Yeah. So because they're not giving up, Blues aren't giving up high danger chances, and Montreal's generating volume, so he should see a decent amount of shots.
I like it.
So definitely appealing in GPPs. I don't know if I would trust that. I'd trust him in cash. I mean, obviously, like guy's making his second career start. At home, he's a slight favorite, so I think you could, in theory, that sounds like a cash play, but I think it's maybe a bit risky. I think he's just where I would go in GPPs at the bottom end.
I like it. If I can get up to him at 73 compared to a guy like Hart, like if the $300 makes a difference, I'd rather go to Binnington. So
I'd much rather go to Binnington.
Yep. All right. Jets and the Minnesota Wild, 2.9 implied total for the Jets, 3.2 for the Wild. Connor Hellebuck going up against Devin Dubnyk here. We've got some new-ish Wild lines. The Coyle line's going to stay together with Parise and Cunnin. It's going to be Koivu flanked by Zucker and Granlund. That's a line I think we have some numbers on for maybe last year, a couple years ago. Anyways, you'd probably expect that line to go up against Scheifele, Wheeler, and Connor. What are you doing with this game here, Steve? This one is one I can't really figure out.
Yeah, I do want to get some Minnesota exposure here because they're good values. I think... Yeah, it's tricky though to figure out which line you want to play on Minnesota. That's the tough part. But I think they're all pretty good value.
Yeah, for me right now, I think it goes the Koivu line first. Then I like the Coyle line, and I'm kind of off stall with Niederreiter and Greenway.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't get that trio, but they might see like the best matchup. I'm hoping the Coyle Parise line sees Little, Line and Roslovic. I think that would be a pretty good matchup for them. They've got awesome numbers. The Coyle line does, so they're pretty cheap as well if you take into account all three of their prices. Same with Minnesota 1. And of course, it says in chat that could be your Chalk Boston 1 pairing. I think they fit pretty nicely.
Which one, the Koivu line or the
Yeah, it's Koivu. So I don't know. I mean, they are.
I just wonder how many people want to target against Winnipeg. That's all.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people want to. It's not like it's a massive total for the Wild. And if anybody looks at line matching, like you can pretty logically say the Koivu line's going to go up against Scheifele, Wheeler, Connor, and they're much better matchups than those three together. So I don't know.
But I mean, the Scheifele lines, they do give some up themselves. I mean,
especially on the road. I think they're noticeably worse on the road. I don't know why that would be a thing, but I don't know.
Numbers look pretty good for the Parise Coyle line, and they've been having some success. So I think they're interesting, and they'll be super low owned. I don't see much ownership on that line. I would say the Koivu line does get most of the ownership here.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he's right. Yeah, they're nothing solid. Like,
I just hate playing Chalk Koivu. Chalk Koivu, like
so that's why I do want to have some Parise Coil exposure
Yeah.
there. Let me just look at the special teams here, but yeah, Winnipeg giving up the most on block shot attempts on the penalty kill and pretty decent high danger chances against on the penalty kill. So, and then Minnesota's power play generating a decent amount of high danger chances on the power play.
Yeah, they
I think
missed
it's a
Dumba on
good
that
special
for sure,
team matchup. Yeah, they do. They do. I just want to see what the power play combos are, though. What kind of correlations we have.
So that's the issue with the Coil line. Is Coil on the second unit, and then Parise, and then nothing for Cunnin. Koivu separate from Zucker and Granlund, so
yeah, it's a terrible correlation.
yeah, and then same thing with Stahl, Niederreiter, and Greenway. So
yeah, that's unfortunate.
Makes it tough, but
yeah.
Minnesota 1, Minnesota 3 are going to be the ones that I get to. Are you going to the Winnipeg side at all here?
I mean, yeah, I like to have some kind of exposure to them always, especially when they're going to be low owned. I don't see them having much ownership despite going off last game.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a matchup anyone wants to target. Like, no one really targets any team going into Minnesota.
Yeah, especially when you know Koivu is with good line mates and they're going to hard match. I'd like to avoid it. Like, I got 1 out of 100 for the Scheifele line, so
yeah,
I wouldn't say I'm on them at all.
Like, they're somewhat matchup proof, but I don't. In that price range, there's better lines.
Agreed, 100%.
Better spots, obviously. Yeah.
What about Suter priced down a little bit at 4,500? DK is begging you to play him, and then Spurgeon up to 5,300.
Yeah, so I think we mentioned it last show. In a vacuum, I like Spurgeon better for the shots and blocks. He's got the better floor. But as I mentioned at the top or earlier, it's a really good power play matchup for Minnesota. So Suter's on the better unit there.
Yeah.
So that's really appealing at 4,500.
You said it best. What about Dubnyk and Hellebuck? 76 for Hellebuck, 78 for Dubnyk.
Yeah, probably not going to play Hellebuck until he turns it around. He's not played well, even in the win. I mean, so he played one good game against Dallas, and even then he only put up 7.2 on DraftKings. In general, he's just giving up. He's just not having those solid games that made him a Vezina candidate last year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're getting wins. Like, he gave up 4 goals last game, though.
Yeah, I like Dubnyk in the mid.
It was Colorado, but if this game was in Winnipeg, I would consider Hellebuck. I'm more likely to play some Dubnyk here.
Agreed. What line does McDonough and Cernak play with most for Tampa?
5-on-5 or
yeah, I think
because I know
McDonough
is the second power play unit.
Yeah.
Games in Tampa.
Isn't McDonough
Last game they had McDonough slightly more with the Kucherov line.
Okay, there you have it. Sneaky game.
He played with both though. He played with both mainly, but slight edge with the point line and had been slight edge with the Stamkos line.
Okay. All right. Next game. Oh, we do have a Furman South sighting as well. He's in the Rangers game, Rangers Islanders. So.
Yeah, so Letty is becoming slightly more appealing.
Oh, gross.
100% Letty tonight?
Yeah, I think that's too little. Jeez. Oh, all right. 2.9 implied total for the Panthers, 3.3 for the Oilers. We have James Reimer going up against Cam Talbot. Mentioned off the top of the show that McDavid is back with Draisaitl and Chason. So you got full power play correlation here in a pretty good power play matchup. Where do the Oilers rank amongst like your top few lines here, Steve?
They're right up there. Florida's been a bit of a dumpster fire lately, especially on the road. You see guys just quitting on plays. They're not trying hard defensively. They don't really have any defensive studs aside from Barkov. And it's McDavid. So, and now he's back with Draisaitl. Anytime McDavid is with Draisaitl, I play them.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb. And we've got some different lines here for the Panthers I forgot to mention. So Mulligan's going to be with Barkov and Huberdeau, and then Hoffman with McCann and Dadonov.
I usually hate Mulligan. I was hoping anybody else but Mulligan.
Yeah, that's brutal. So it kind of takes me off. I was going to have some interest in Florida 1.
Yeah.
But kind of off them. And now on to Edmonton's top line, especially because there's no Zach Kassian or Kara or whoever, Ratty. I mean, Ratty was actually okay when he was cheap and on Power Play 1, but Like, he's got some real line mates here, at least one. So Edmonton 1 for me is really all I have in this game. Anything you want to talk about more? Any other lines or defensemen here?
I might try some of that Florida 2 McCann line with Hoffman, Dadonov. I need to do a little bit more digging. I want to look at last year's numbers on what Malgin did with Huberdeau and Barkov. I'm pretty certain they've played together. There's no sample this year, though.
I thought Malgin played a bunch with Trocheck last year.
Yeah, but at some point they mixed the lines. I'm sure they have a bigger sample than the 4 minutes they played together this year.
Yeah. So McCann, Hoffman, and Dadonov. Yeah, they're probably going to get the depth of Edmonton here, which is
I think McCann has some decent upside.
He's not bad, yeah.
Yeah, for the price. And then, I think it's worth a sprinkle. I think it's worth trying out here.
Yeah.
I don't have I don't feel strongly about it. There's no data to say that's going to be a great line. They've never played together, so it's just a hunch. I think they're worth a shot.
What about Nurse here? Is he the pretty obvious guy? Power play 1 with Edmonton 1 here?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pretty clearly,
5,100 for Nurse. How has Florida been on the kill as of late? I know they really struggled early in the season. I'm trying to see.
Not bad results. Middle to lower half as far as underlying numbers, unblocked shot attempts, and high danger chances allowed.
Yeah, they've killed off their last 9. So
yeah,
whatever. I mean, tiny sample, but okay, a little bit better.
I want to have some Florida exposure, mainly because Edmonton's been giving up the most high danger chances against, or at least on the slate over their last 10 games or so.
Okay.
They're really not playing well defensively, but on the other hand, Florida has been the worst offensive team by all those underlying metrics as well. So maybe the line changes jumpstart something. That's the only reason I want to get some exposure here. I'm going to have some of each of the top 2 lines.
Yeah, I like Ekblad actually quite a bit for 4,200. He's power play 2, but you could play him with McCann if that unit gets on the ice. At least some correlation there if you're going with Florida 2, like you said. So Yandel is Yandel. I mean, he plays in the top power play. He's usually a little bit overpriced for me as a one-off. But if you are getting to the Barkov Huberdeau line, that would be the guy to probably stack with. What about netminders here? Reimer for 7,400, Talbot for 7,600.
I might take a sprinkle on Talbot.
Okay. I'm looking to see.
Given Florida's offensive woes, they're not scoring, they're not doing much. And Reimer, I just don't believe in him as a goaltender unless he's crazy hot streak out of nowhere. Not going to tell him. Just digging into the top line there with Mulligan last year, they played about 50 minutes. Not good offensive numbers at all. Worse defensively.
Whew. All right. So maybe a little boost to McDavid then. Even.
Yeah, maybe you just do Barkov, Huberdeau, mini stack. Hope that they switch up the winger at some point or that they score on the power play if you want to play those guys.
So same thing with Talbot, just kind of a sprinkle of him, mostly correlated. But fair price for him as a home favorite, I think, 76.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move it to Arizona and Vancouver. We've got a 2.6 implied total for the Coyotes, 2.9 for the Canucks. Darcy Kemper going up against Jacob Markstrom. Looks like there should be some value in this game somewhere. Just super cheap prices on Arizona, as always. They don't really produce all that well in general, except when they're going up against the Rangers at home. And no Elias Pettersson, so it's going to be Besser centering Horvat centering Besser and Goldobin. What do you like in this game, Steve?
I want to try that top line for Vancouver. Seems appealing. All their best offensive players that are still in the lineup.
Okay.
Not really. 56 minutes they played together this year, apparently, and the results haven't been great. At least the underlying numbers haven't been good either.
Yeah.
That's a shame, but Arizona does give up a lot of high danger chances.
At even strength, yeah.
Pretty much every line.
Yeah. I always wonder why I don't target more against Arizona. It's because their penalty kill is so good. They just don't really give up much at all at 5-on-4. So it's a little bit frustrating for me to, not have my projections like them or like teams against Arizona, but that would be the line I'd want to try out is Horvat, Besser, and Goldobin super cheap as well. So as a trio, they're pretty affordable. What about anything on the Arizona side? Any of these top 3 lines? Pretty spread out here.
Top line seems to have the best metrics, but it's a small sample size.
Yep. The one line that I was actually looking to, which is pretty gross, is this Galchenyuk Cousins Garland line. They had a really good game against the Rangers. That was at home. It's a little bit different story, but we do have top power play tags for Galchenyuk and Garland, and both those guys have been generating a lot of chances as of late. So that's a line I'm definitely going to take a flyer on, a couple flyers on, especially if I'm going to Boston 1 or Tampa 2. And I don't really like the Richardson line much at all, so it would be Arizona 3 or the top line if I'm going to the Coyotes here, because Vancouver does commit quite a few penalties.
Yeah. I mean, maybe worth a sprinkle, but yeah, only MME formats, clearly, for me.
What about Ekman Larson or Edler, or any of these cheap defensemen on either side?
Edler is always in play, no matter the matchup. Even though it's not a great power play matchup against the best penalty killing team. But again, he comes in at the same price as Krug, so
yeah,
you might have to make a decision there.
Yep, took the words out of my mouth. Same price as Krug.
Yeah. Ekman Larson's interesting, though, against Vancouver's penalty kill.
Under 5K still for Ekman Larson. He's had better results, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, he's getting on the score sheet with some regularity. Only played 20 minutes. Oh, that was the Rangers game last time out. They were down big, or they were up big early, I should say. So would expect him to play his usual 23, 24 minutes here.
I said, we're talking about Vancouver's penalty kill, but actually it's been better lately. Just looking at their numbers, they're taking less penalties over the last month and a half or so. Fewer penalties than Arizona is, and they're allowing fewer unblocked shot attempts and fewer high danger chances against.
Sure.
So maybe it's not the jam spot that you might think it is, or what we've come to see from the full season numbers.
Yep. Kemper for 7,500 or Markstrom 7,800 here.
Both are in play. I think the Canucks have had issues scoring lately, and when they're jamming up that top line or stacking up the top line, if the Coyotes can avoid letting them kill them, then it's a pretty good spot, I think, overall. Like one line teams, if you can shut down that one line, things are looking pretty good for the goalie.
Like Dallas, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. All right, let's go to the Sharks and the Golden Knights. I think we got a couple more games to go. 2.8 implied total for the Sharks, 3.2 for the Golden Knights. Martin Jones and Marc-Andre Fleury in net. This is a game that I thought I was going to have a ton of exposure to when I ran my first couple crunches today, and I didn't really get a lot that I like. I got some sprinkles of these second and third San Jose lines, but not a ton of Vegas. I don't know. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, it's interesting. San Jose in general, their 5-on-5 numbers are strong. They're giving up the fewest shot attempts in the league and pretty low on the high danger chances against. But just look at their defensemen there. Like they're good offensive players, but defensively, no, they're not. They're prone to lapses defensively. So from a GPP perspective, I think Vegas is interesting.
Okay.
Especially the top line. Yeah. I think they're quite interesting here. No one's really going to be on them, I wouldn't think.
Someone said Peary got sent down. Is that
he
right?
did get sent down, but not like he got brought back up when Smith got injured.
Oh, okay. I thought. Wait a minute.
Are you talking about like today?
Yeah, like just now.
Just now.
He did. Yeah, he did. He
just got sent down.
Yeah, Brandon Peary has been reassigned to the Chicago Wolves, the AHL again.
Does that mean that Smith's coming back?
I would have to think so, right?
So the thing is, the reason why he keeps getting sent down is because once he plays 10 games,
they lose him. Right?
He goes on waivers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen this on Twitter. Yeah, 7. Yeah. So I wonder if that means that Smith is back. In which case, I like the top line slightly more. But the second line's in play now too. I think
with Pacioretty slides on there.
I do like, yeah, Pacioretty, Stastny, Tuck. I do like slightly better as a overall line than with Peary, even though Peary's been having some success at that price tag. I don't know if he's worth that price tag. On FanDuel, he was only 3,500. Makes a little difference there, or big difference there.
Yep.
Yeah, Pacioretty's 800 cheaper, so it kind of puts that line a little bit more in play. But I do, yeah, if Smith is back, then I'm still liking that top line.
Okay. What about you? Do you have any strong takes on the San Jose lines?
Yeah, it would just be the Hurdle line, Hurdle, Kane, Donskoy. That's been their best one.
They've been
and it's the
generating
third
a
line,
ton.
and they're getting no ownership because it's the third line.
Yeah, just because they've got that SJ3 tag, people just are scared off for whatever reason. But
yeah, in higher stakes, people are wise to it. But
for sure,
you see in large field, low stakes kind of stuff, they won't have the ownership that they should have.
yeah. Donskoy's coming in at like 3%. It's crazy. But anyways, let's go. Oh wait, defenseman here, Carlson, Burns. Take your pick there. Which one are you picking tonight, or both?
Both. Carlson's on some ridiculous assist streak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that's going to last, but I think with a high, with a team like Vegas, who's pretty high event, or at least offensively, they're generating a lot of shots. I think that gives Burns the better floor.
Okay,
it's more of a shot blocker, shooter type. From pure offense, I think the matchup kind of suits Carlson. So it's like I'd probably go Burns and cash, Carlson GPP.
Okay, I'm getting to a ton of Burns, so
yeah,
interesting. Some Carlson, but overwhelming majority of Burns here for me. What about your buddy Martin Jones? I'm assuming that's a no-go. And then Fleury at home for 8,100 against a really good team.
Generally, no on Martin Jones. He's been playing, I don't know, average.
So way better. Lately. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Vegas is always kind of the team where they generate a lot of volume. Both teams, really. They generate a ton of volume. So there's always potential there. But I believe in Fleury as a goalie much more than I believe in Martin Jones. So
that's fair.
That's all. I might include some. I might have some Martin Jones, but not a lot.
All right. Martin Jones night. Senators and Kings, last game of the night. We've got a 2.5 implied total for the Ottawa Senators, 3.4 for the Kings here. Sens on the road back-to-back. They stole one last night in the third period against the Ducks. I think it was 2-1. Or it was in overtime, right? Colin White.
Yeah, 2-1 overtime. They tied it late, yeah.
Probably going to see some Kings chalk here, especially this top line full power play correlation with Kopitar, Brown, Kovalchuk. What are you doing here with the probable Kings chalk here? It seems too good to be true, right?
Yeah, I do like them. I don't know if I love the line with Kovalchuk, though.
Really low event, right?
Yeah. I would feel better if it was the Iafallo up there with Kopitar and Brown. They were starting to get something going, and then they had those few stinker games against really good teams. And now they broke them up. So I don't know. Yeah, I really just don't like Kovalchuk there with them. Kind of hurts the chemistry of the line, what they had going before. So it's kind of tricky. I think obviously it's a good spot. It's Ottawa on back-to-back.
Yeah.
They're giving up so many shot attempts, Ottawa. Kings haven't been generating much. I disagree with their total being so high and them being such big favorites just because of how trash they are as well.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with the Ducks last night. Way too overpriced as far as being favorites against Ottawa. They've done nothing themselves. They've also lost 8 straight games. So why are we jumping on two bad teams, like giving such a massive spread when they're actually really close together?
Yeah, bad team versus bad team. But.
Yeah. I don't agree with lines like that when they do that. Or two good teams with a big line, like doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But in general, I think it's plays. I'll play both the top two lines for LA. I'll have exposure to them.
Yeah, I like that call. I'm trying to match the field with the Kopitar line. I don't want them to decide my night in MME. I'm not playing them in single entry, so they're going to be pretty chalky, especially Kopitar, and I would imagine Kovalchuk as well. But I do like Ottawa's top line a little bit here. It's just an under-owned play, bad team for the Kings. I don't know how great the Kopitar line is going to be defensively. Just kind of a flyer here with Stone, White, Kachuk. And what about defensemen on the Kings side? Muzzin, Doughty, Forbort, Martinez, I don't know. There's a few options that are okay.
Doughty, because of the power play, I believe,
Yeah.
would be
Top power play.
ideal. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's funny because it's like the Kings' offense has been so putrid lately. The Sens are giving up a ton of shot attempts, decent amount of high danger chances. Their penalty kill numbers, underlying penalty kill numbers, aren't so bad. I don't know. In general, this could just be like a low scoring game.
Kings chalk on a 12-game slate.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna. Yeah, the problem is the ownership. If they weren't owned, I'd probably. So I don't want to go over the field on them.
Agreed.
I think that's key. I'd like to be under. I imagine now, you go higher stakes maybe. I could see them 15%, 10%, 15%, something like that. I'd like to have them at like 5, maybe less, and full field stuff.
They're just not a good team. They're just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Bad,
They haven't been generating anything offensively. So
right. Bad
it's
team
tough.
in a good spot. Still a bad team. So
Yeah. I would take some flyers on Ottawa there, but they're the same price as St. Louis won. So
that's the issue, right? They're just gonna have they're gonna have no ownership. So like I had like 6% of the white line, and that's gonna be 2 or 3 times the field, which
White Bodker single during the third period last night. Interesting.
What happened?
Nolan's mentioning they switched the line slightly at the third period last night. Didn't actually check that out.
That's disgusting.
But it's standard Ottawa though. I mean, they're always mixing and matching. This is what's his face? Scott Boucher. Yeah. He's always trying to play chess in hockey instead of just rolling the best players at the right times. He's so concerned with individual matchups, and he's just such a micromanager. It's crazy.
He's like, the one coach I remember whose name, the one coach. For the worst team, one of the worst teams. So.
Yeah, Guy Boucher, man. Oh.
Yeah.
He's just trying to do too much,
Agreed. So we've got quick A value, 8 points grade, 7,800 here. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Yes.
They should win. They should win, right? They should win.
They should win, yeah. Seems like, Quick's a good goalie in general. I agree.
How much is Ottawa going to be able to actually generate, though?
Yeah, that's what I wonder. I mean, the Kings are giving up a decent amount of shot attempts. Okay. They're both towards the bottom as far as generating offense, though, so it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, we shall see.
We shall see. I don't know. I don't have a great feel for this game. I'm just going to go underweight on it overall, I think.
Neither do I. And maybe they don't come in as overwhelming chalk. Maybe they're under 10% or something.
I may completely fade this game. I'm thinking about it.
There's just so many better teams tonight, so many better lines, like in similar spots. Yeah, maybe it's not on the road. Like maybe you don't get Ottawa at home on a back-to-back, but there's way better lines tonight. So I think under the field is the right call. At the very least, you don't have to full fade them if you don't want to, but
under the field sounds about right.
Yep. All right, that should about do it. Looks like we went a little over an hour. That's perfect for a 12-gamer. I think there's 3 or 4 games tomorrow. Nolan and I will be on the show, and we will be doing, I think tomorrow we're going to do like a Fantasy Cruncher / NHL DFS research show. That'll be like kind of a standalone show, evergreen. So you can look at that, or if you're trying to get into NHL over NBA All-Star break or whatever, you can just watch the show once again. So hopefully we'll do that tomorrow. If you guys want to see anything specific on the show, on Fantasy Cruncher, or how we go about like picking lines and plays and where we look, what sites and stuff, just hit me up on Twitter or in the premium Slack. We're looking for input for you guys for that. Steve, got anything else to say on this 12-game slate here?
Nothing really. Just no need to go crazy. It's a big slate. Just play your favorite plays. Like, don't have to get too cute. So,
good advice.
That's about it. Yeah, just good luck tonight, guys.
Yeah, good luck. See you tomorrow.